Welcome to Balls and All, getting right in there, in a sporting sense. Live every Monday, right here on loudradio.tv. I'm that man Don, and time for a quick wrap of the weekend sportsing action, results and potential highlights for the week ahead. Plenty of cricket action to sink our teeth into, but first some golf. George Coetzee finished the final round of the Dimension Data Pro-Am at Fancourt, birdie, eagle, to snatch a one-shot victory from Dean Burmeister. Incredibly, Coetzee achieved the same feat closing out round 3. It was a winning return for Coetzee after a 5-month injury layoff from an ankle injury sustained while surfing, of all things. Meanwhile, in the US, Bubba Watson held on to his overnight lead as he claimed his 10th PGA Tour title at the Northern Trust Open, denying us all the pleasure of the delightfully named Jason Kokrak claiming his maiden tour victory. Kokrak finished a shot back with Adam Scott, while Ryan Moore banged in an ace on the 16th to finish 10th overall. The second hole-in-one of the weekend after South African Tyrone van Asbergen had also aced the 16th on Saturday. Cricket, and before I get into the T20 series between the Proteas and England, Brendan McCullum. In his final test before retiring, the Kiwi skipper bludgeoned the fastest 100 in the history of the test match game, needing just 54 deliveries from the Australians to beat the 56-ball record jointly held by Viv Richards and Misbah Huq. The Kiwi skipper rode his luck on his way though, caught off a no-ball in the 30s before finally being dismissed for a remarkable 145 off just 79 balls. Just incredible when you consider that he scored his 50 off 34 deliveries. As well as picking up the fastest 100 in the history of the game, McCullum also became the first Test captain to score 100 in his final Test match. He also became the first Test captain to score more than 170 runs, something ridiculous like that. And he scored the most runs by a Kiwi in their final game, 170 in his 2 knocks in total. New Zealand were eventually all out for 370 in just under 66 overs of day 1 in a Test match. Yes, 5.63 runs per over. The Aussies responded with 505 on the back of 170 from Joe Burns and 138 from Stephen Smith, who was felled by a snorting bouncer from Neil Wagner in his knock. The Australian captain left stunned for a few minutes after getting it all wrong playing the delivery. Plenty of discussion around the bouncer on the back of the Phil Hughes' passing in 15 months ago. But let's keep in mind that Ian Botham once scored a Test 149 not out of 148 balls and 118 off 109 in an Ashes series while facing Dennis Lilly and Terry Alderman, wearing only a moustache and a mullet for protection. At close of play at the end of today's day 3, the Kiwis were 121 for 4. McCullum unable to repeat his first innings heroics, bowing out of Test cricket with a 25 off 27 ball knock, and his side still trailing Australia by 14 runs. On to what may have just been the best T20 series I've ever witnessed. Friday night in Cape Town, Imran Tahir back to his devastating best. The Proteas restricting England to 134 for 8. Tahir equaling his T20 best of 4 for 21, yet somehow missed out on a 5-fer and a hat-trick. How Chris Jordan was not bowled or didn't touch the ball, we will never fully understand. Also, how Rabada didn't kill Duminy when he cut him in half with a spectacular tackle as both players tried to take a catch is also a mystery. To be honest, so is the fact that JP even held on to the catch. The Proteas made hard work of the chase, losing regular wickets on the back of a great bowling effort by Chris Jordan amongst others. They entered the final over needing 15 off 6 with 3 wickets in hand and Kyle Abbott on strike to Topley with Chris Morris stuck up the other end. Abbott took a single off ball 1 before Chris Morris cemented his place in the hearts of Proteas fans on the back of his heroics with bat in hand in the ODI series. He smashed Topley for 4 and then 6 off deliveries 3 and 4, leaving 4 required off 3. Topley enhanced the drama by bowling a dot ball on the 4th delivery. Cue the cliffhanger. Off ball 5, Morris scrambled 2 down the ground. A better throw from Joe Root may well have seen Abbott short, which would have meant 3 off the final delivery. Instead, it was just 2 required. Morris then drove to Root again, who this time obliged with a great throw to Topley, who somehow fluffed his lines, fumbling the ball in trying to effect the run-out, and SA won by 3 wickets off the final ball. The picture of Morris and Abbott leaping in celebration while all of the England players are strewn across the park heads on hands is a priceless memory for any Proteas fan. On to Game 2 yesterday at the Wanderers. What a game of one-bounce baseball. England had stuttered to 61 for 3 off 8 overs before Butler and Morgan had decimated Visser, Dermody and Morris on their way to a delightful 96-run stand off just 57 balls. And I, for one, was thinking we're going to take 200 plus here, before one of the most bizarre collapses ever seen in cricket. Sitting on 157 for 3 in the 16th over, Butler holed out to a brilliant catch by Faf off Abbott that had to be sent upstairs for confirmation before Abbott then deflected Stokes' first shot off the next ball to run out Morgan. And then just 3 balls later, Stokes fed Morris one of the most mind-boggling caught and bowled ever. It seemed a bump ball for all money. Somehow the Kiwi-born Yorkshireman had spooned it up to Morris, who took the catch above his head and then embarrassingly appealed for it. The review proved that it was out and Stokes was on his way. Just 4 balls later, Moeen Ali found Dermody in the deep, who took a stunning diving catch running towards a ball falling out of the sky. Followed by Jordan picking out Faf, and then Billings finding Hash off a poor Abbott delivery at square leg with no other fielder on the leg side to contend with. And finally, Rabada knocked up over Rashid's off stump to dismiss England for a decent score on paper of 171, but they will know it was way short, given that the final 7 wickets fell for just 14 runs in 19 frenetic deliveries. Hash and AB then decided to keep the foot on the throat as they thrashed all comers to all parts of the bullring. AB setting a new Proteas T20 record as he rushed to 50 off a mere 21 balls before finally succumbing to 71 off just 29 in a match-winning partnership of 125 off just 49 with Hashim Amla, who guided the Proteas home, scoring his second T20 50 on his way to 69 off 38, while Faf chipped in with a runner ball 22 to finish England off, and a remarkable game of one bounce baseball was done. There's a series coming up against the Australians, which we'll cover in next week's show ahead of the T20 World Cup. Moving on to football, and it was FA Cup action this weekend, which saw Hull meet Arsenal for the 3rd season running in the FA Cup. The championship side holding the twice defending champions to a goalless draw at the Emirates on Saturday. Championship side Reading then upset West Brom 3-1, coming from a goal down at home to secure a quarter-final berth for the 2nd year running, while Watford needed a freakish own goal by a Leeds defender to see off the Yorkshiremen 1-0. Everton ran out 2-0 winners at Bournemouth, helped by a fine save by their keeper Rubles from a penalty when the score was still 0-0. Sunday saw West Ham hammer Blackburn 5-1. Palace upset Spurs 1-0 at White Hart Lane, with Martin Kelly scoring his first ever goal for Crystal Palace. And Chelsea embarrassed a very young City side 5-1 in London, with Manuel Pellegrini now losing his 3rd match in 4 since announcing he was being replaced by Pep Guardiola next season. With a crucial Champions League tie against Kiev on Tuesday, the manager opted not to play most of his attacking stars, more in protest at the schedule than out of a lack of respect for the FA Cup, but he will be crucified over it. The final tie of the last 32 plays out tonight, with a floundering Manchester United travelling to minnow Shrewsbury Town, who will be hoping to be the final nail in LVG's coffin. The winner of that game entertains West Ham in the quarters, while Chelsea travel to Everton, Reading will host Palace, and Watford wait to find out if they're travelling to Hull or North London for their quarter-final. The week ahead, staying with football, massive Champions League ties tomorrow. Bayern Munich travel to Juventus, Arsenal entertain Barcelona, while on Wednesday, City travel to Kiev and PSV Eindhoven host Atletico Madrid. Then Thursday sees the second legs of the last 32 in the Europa League, with Liverpool and Spurs hoping to build on decent away draws last weekend. United will be hoping to overturn their shock 2-1 loss to Danish surprise package FC Midtjylland, who thoroughly deserved their upset win last week. And on the back of that loss, potential banana skin in the FA Cup, and then a trip on Sunday to title-chasing Arsenal, Manchester United are under huge pressure. That's the pick of the weekend's Premier League fixtures, while title-chasing rivals Leicester hosts Norwich on Saturday and Spurs entertain Swansea at White Hart Lane on Sunday. City's game has been postponed because it's the big event at Wembley on Sunday. Liverpool and Manchester City contesting the Capital One Cup final of 2016. But let's be honest, most of us are just waiting for the launch of the new super-sized Super Rugby competition. Yes, there's some Six Nations games on the weekend, but this is the rugby most of us are looking forward to. The new look format with the 15 protagonists from 2015 joined by the returning Kings and the new kids on the block out of Argentina and Japan, the Jaguares and the Sunwolves taking their Super Rugby bow. There is plenty of action to look forward to this weekend. Kicking things off, defending champs the Highlanders travel to Eden Park to take on Tana Umaga's Blues outfit on Friday. followed by the mouth-watering prospect of the Brumbies hosting last season's runners-up, the Hurricanes. Catch me live on loudradio.tv for both those games as Blokes on the Couch commentary with balls returns to the air for all of the Friday morning Super Rugby games. Friday's fixtures are rounded off with an all-new cat fight in Super Rugby. The Jaguares taking on the Cheetahs in Bloemfontein. Saturdays then sees the other debutants take on the Lions in Tokyo, with the Sunwolves looking to build on the rugby hype created by Japan's efforts in last year's World Cup, before the Crusaders and the Chiefs lock horns in probably the pick of the ties for Saturday. Followed by what promised to be another brutal clash between the Tars and the Reds. The two old enemies out of Australia love to have a ding-dong battle. And then one for the Star Wars wordplay fans amongst us. The Rebels will attempt to rout the Force, and the weekend's action is completed by the Sharks travelling south to PE to take on the Kings, who make their return to Super Rugby after a one-year absence. And finally, the Stormers host the Bulls in the big North-South derby in the Republic. And that's that for this week. Don't forget, Blokes on the Couch commentary with balls back on Loud Radio on Friday morning, South African time, and Balls and All returns next week Monday for a roundup of the weekend sporting action. Until then, I've been that man Don for Balls and All, getting right in there in a sporting sense. May the sport be with you.